Hey gang, it is spooky season and this year I haven't really done very many like spooky themed videos. Last year I did like a decorate with me and I feel like I did a couple of different videos and I definitely did this one last year, like talking about like my spooky season plants. So I have tried to choose different plants this year and I think there's only like a couple of repeat offenders. There was I can't quite remember all of the ones that I put in the video last year. I know I definitely included my Sabrina black stem, which I have still got and I did consider putting in, but honestly the only scary thing about that plant is how bad it looks. It's not looking good. So there might be like maybe 2 or 3 repeats. I can't remember. I haven't watched it since last year. So anyway, we're gonna get on with it. I think I've got maybe, I don't know, I haven't counted, maybe like 15 to share with you, and this year I've gone for more of like just a good spooky season plant. So what I mean by that is maybe it's just really dark foliage, or maybe it's a bit gnarly looking, or maybe it's a bit like weird or sinister, or like it's just got some weird creepy vibes. Like that's the kind of vibe I've gone for this video. I was just trying to think about who to start with, and I'm actually going to start with this one right here that you can see, because it stinks, and I'd like to move it, like that's why it's on on this video. So this is, I can't remember what Stapeliad it is exactly, but these guys, like they push out these flowers which are really quite cool, to be honest. Like the texture of them is quite amazing, but they stink. Like it smells like a rotten, I don't know, something rotten is just sat next to me, stinking the place up. So I would really like to get this plant out of my nose area. There's more blooms coming in. It's actually bloomed so much for me, like absolutely loads. And you can't like it sits on the windowsill, like you can't smell it when you're not up close to it. And normally you can only smell it if you like proper stick your nose in there, but because it was right there, I think it was just kind of permeating the area around my nostrils. So that's why this one's included. Like the plant itself is a bit gnarly looking. They're not sharp. They don't scratch you or anything, but it's a bit of a wild one. It's a weird grower, but it's those blooms, like they smell like something died. So that absolutely had to be on this list. I'm actually going to go with this one next. It was sat next to it. This flower on it is a bead. It's not the actual flower. I wanted to talk about this one. So this is, hang on, let me think of the name. It's a sarcostemma. I can't remember what the second part of the name is, but it's a weirdo. So it's obviously a trailing succulent. The colour of it is like that kind of bluey silver. It's really, really bizarre, and it gives me like witch finger vibes. Don't know what you're thinking, but it gives me witch finger vibes. It just looks like that kind of classic cartoon green grey colour that witches' fingers would get coloured in as, and it's a really weird one. This section here is a new bit that's grown in my care, and it's still quite green, but the top section is starting to get that kind of slight discoloration to it, which I'm really enjoying. It's definitely one of my weirdo plants, and I really like how structural it is. Not that that's got anything to do with it being spooky, but it's weird. It's weird, and there's a cobweb on it. So that adds to the spooky vibes. Next up, I'm gonna shift a little bit. We're going to go for a slightly bigger plant, and part of the scariness of this plant is that it has had a really bad case of mealybugs. I purchased it with them, and we're still working through it. But this is one that I've not actually shown on my channel before, and of course the colour is not actually picking it up. This is the Philodendron Birkin pink, and I had the white, like the original version, the white Birkin, and that plant, anytime I posted it on my Instagram back in the day, that post would go off. It would get so many likes, so many views, so many comments. People loved that plant, and honestly it photographed really well. Like, it was a beautiful plant to photograph because of the lines and the detail in it. It is stunning. And I think sadly, so I'm a bit worried it's going to happen again with this one, but actually that plant, it just, like, the leaves got whiter and whiter and whiter, and obviously they can't photosynthesize, so they would start to die back, and it lost its beauty for me, and I think it ended up with thrips really badly, and so it left my collection, just floated away. And I'm worried, seeing the new leaf that's unfurling on this one, that the same thing's going to happen. But I wanted to include it on this list because it's being a bit blown out, but it's a really, really dark plant. Like, the green sections are so dark green, they're almost black. And so, oh, don't touch other plants. And so at the moment it's like black and pink, which, I mean, black and orange would definitely be more Halloween-y, but I feel like it's still giving quite a striking, like, vibe. And my white one never got this big. Like, it's a big plant, which is really, really cool. I have been, like, checking it daily. So when I picked it up, it was in, like, the discounted section. Like, I think it was like $39.99 originally, and it was down to $11.99. And I bought it home, literally removed the soil. Sorry, I got distracted. There are squirrels fighting outside. I removed the soil and a lot of the root system, to be fair, and really scrubbed it down. And I've potted it into pon. The roots that are in here do not look happy. Like, to be honest, I think they're quite dead, which is a little bit worrying. But hopefully it'll start to bounce back. I've been, like, pulling down sections of the plant to, like, find any trapped mealybugs. But yeah, I'm hoping it'll pull through. But this is the newest leaf that it's unfurling, which, as you can see, really doesn't have very much of the, like, striped veining, and it's definitely blowing it out. Like, it's a real pink. I'll try and, like, take a photo of it in a different light to show you. It's really, really pink. It's beautiful. It's just a little bit scary in terms of the mealybugs, and it's a very dark, big plant, which I feel like it's got some real good, like, Halloween vibes to it. I don't know, like, what do you think? What are you thinking? I think I bought it for the novelty. Like, if it was a big white Birkin, I wouldn't have picked it up, but I bought it for the novelty of having a pink one. Onto another big plant. I wanted to include this guy in this video, again, because of the big dark leaves, and it is dusty, so I apologise for that, but this is my Calathea washawiskii. It has these beautiful, massive, dark, velvety leaves. The backs of the leaves are this insane dark purple. Oh, there's a dying leaf. An insane dark purple. I love this plant, and it's such a statement in my home, and I feel like it is such a good spooky plant. Again, it's a really cloudy day. Like, I can't shift the lighting. Maybe I can edit it in, like, post-production, but it's blowing it out a little bit. It's a really, really dark plant, and I feel like it is a really good contender for a spooky season plant. We'll go with this little guy that was sat in front of it next. This is my Dioscorea discolor, and I mean, this plant kind of speaks for itself. It's heart-shaped leaves, which is not necessarily spooky, but they're very dark. They have that gorgeous veining, which is, like, almost web-like. It's a, like, real vining plant, so it really wraps around, and, like, any plant that wraps around gives me, like, spooky forest, the vines are going to grab you kind of vibes. So it's definitely got that going on. As I said, beautiful, beautiful veins that look like webbing. The markings are stunning as well. I know this leaf is a little bit misshapen, but I really love the colour of that one. And then, if you haven't seen this plant before, look at the colour of the backs. Isn't that stunning? If that is not the perfect, like, spooky season colour, I don't know what is. stunning. I have got it on this holographic trellis with this sun catcher crystal, and then I've even got a little bat up top helping its vine stay in place. I feel like this is a really good spooky season plant. I'm a big fan, big fan. I'm gonna go with this little one in front of me next. Of course, I had to include an anthurium in this one. I've actually got two anthuriums in this one, but this is my anthurium Dark Phoenix crossed with Goliath, and it is a cartel down one. And I'm loving this plant. Again, it's being blown out a little bit, but I included it because it was really, really dark. I think it's probably one of my darkest anthuriums, and also just the shape, like it's so pointed down here, and these lobes are like I feel like if Dracula was into houseplants, he'd have this plant. Like, is it not giving like Dracula vibes? Like, I don't know. Like, I think this reminds me of like his collar on his cape. I don't know. Can you see the way my brain works? It's beautiful. I really, really love it. It's got like a gorgeous bumpy texture to it. Very minimal veining. There is like a subtle bit of veining in there, but really not very much at all. And the backs of the leaves, it's got some guttation on it because of watering, but the backs of the leaves, they have got like a kind of, it's almost like a bronzy coppery tone to it, which isn't really picking up, but you can kind of see it in the veining. Really, really cool. So that's the first anthurium on this list. Look how velvety it is. Oh, I love it. I'm going to show you this next anthurium. It's not potted in the best situation, so just ignore that. This is my anthurium nigrolaminum GG. It used to be a really big, beautiful plant. I feel like it might have been included in last year's video. It completely, like, I don't completely know what happened. Like, I think maybe it rotted. I can't remember, but it basically became a stump. And so I popped it into this cup with another cup on top for a humidity dome. And this is the first leaf it popped out, which I was quite impressed by. But it's so dark and shiny and just stunning. Like the backs, I can't really, it's a very sharp, like another Dracula plant. Like, can you see the vibes? Like, this is definitely the kind of plant he would want in his house. I'm sure of it. In his house, like in his mansion-y or back cave, I don't know. Oh, I've got another anthurium. This is my, oh no, I'm knocking the ghost over. This is the other anthurium that I wanted to talk to you about. Very different vibe to the other ones. This is my anthurium corrugatum rugulosum. Or is it rugulosum corrugatum? I do always get it muddled. And I mean, first of all, look at this new leaf. You guys haven't seen this new leaf yet. Here's all its other leaves. They're facing the other way. And I can't remember if I spoke about this plant in last year's video, but I wanted to include it just because, like, I know it's not dark, but there's something about the texture of it that sometimes makes me feel a little bit funny. Like, just like maybe cringe a little bit, or like, I don't know, like it's given reptilian, or even maybe some kind of like bubbling slime, like I don't know, but it's beautiful. I really, really love this plant, and the shape of this newest leaf. Like, I love these lobes, and I love how cheeky it is. Like, look at these big old cheekbones into this gorgeous point. It's really shifted the shape. Like, this is one of the older leaves. Like, it's just like, pow, I grew up and got cheekbones. But I don't know, I just think it's so reptilian, so cool looking. The backs of the leaves are also very interesting. Let me see if I can show you. Oh. I don't know if I can show you. Maybe that's not the best leaf to try and show you on. don't know how to show you the backs of the leaves. Can I show you on this one? Maybe. They're like a little bit spiky. Oh no, what have I done? I did something with a leaf on my camera. Yeah, the backs of the leaves are like a little bit spiky. They're, I can't describe it. They're a really odd texture. And so's the petioles. Like the petioles have like a real, it's almost like sandpaper. That's what it feels like. The backs of the leaves and the petioles are like sandpapery. It's weird. Do you know, I think I've changed the like focus, so does it focus? Can you see? I don't know if I can get you to see, but like the petioles, they feel like sandpaper. It's so bizarre. Oh my god, the sun is like trying to peek out from a cloud and it's like right there in my face. But yeah, I love this plant and I feel like it does give some spooky vibes. And I wanted to show off that new leaf. I'm gonna put it here. So pretty. Okay, I've like pulled the curtain a little bit. I think it's better. Who haven't I spoken about? Oh. This next plant I've just realised is not very happy. It's like rotting at the base, so I'll need to do something about that. But this is a jewel orchid. It just says McCody's on the label. I'm not completely sure which one it is, but it's black. So I really wanted to include it. It's black with like red, orange, lightning veins. If this isn't a like Halloween spooky season plant, then I don't know what is, because it's the perfect colouring and it's stunning. I'm enjoying having this particular one in my collection. There is like a good root on it. I almost feel like I really didn't need to make a mess in this video. But, see, there's like rot at the bottom. There's like, this bit was like separating, but then there is a single root, so I'll have to like, obviously have to pot it up properly now that I've just like ripped it out. There is a good root there, so that's fine, but there you go. This beautiful, beautiful jewel orchid. Super, super Halloweeny. I love it. I actually bought a like a terrarium coffin type shape to pot this guy into, and I haven't done that yet. Maybe I'll try and get that filmed as another like spooky season video for this year, but yeah, just really enjoying. I've got 4 plants left. I'm gonna go with this one next. This one's really new to my collection. It's only been with me for a couple of days at this point. It is the Begonia Sizemoriae. I think that's how you pronounce the name. This one, so it arrived and it was like, there was 3 leaves missing from it, and the company I bought it from, Dibley's, has offered to send me out a replacement, which I have accepted. There's a whole video on that you can go and watch. But I wanted to include it, even though I haven't got the replacement, because it's such a hairy plant. Can you see those hairs? It's just really hairy and like a bit creepy, and the backs are a little bit wild. Like, look at the veining, the colouring, the hair. It's insane. Like, just look at all of that hair. I really, really love it. This one's like a new leaf. Like, you see how like matted the hair gets when it's like unfurling. It's wild. I'm sorry. It's really cool. I'm really happy to have this like weirdo in my collection, and I really hope that the replacement I get sent it actually gets shipped okay, and I can have like hopefully pot them together and have a really, really big wild one. Like, I think there are lots of different begonias that are like really, really weird. Like, I really want a really nice begonia ferox. Like, I know they're much easier to get hold of at the moment and they're popping up everywhere, but sometimes they don't look that nice. And like, there's a part of me that instead of the ferox, I want the, is it melanabellata? What is the difference between those two? Like, they look really similar, but is one like more hairy? So I feel like I prefer the photos of the the other one, not the ferox. And that's why I haven't pulled the trigger on getting a ferox yet, because I haven't seen one that I really like and I want it to look like the other one. But like, is that the difference? Like, is it a bit more like bumpy and hairy? Maybe I just need to hold out. But yeah, I'm really enjoying weirdo begonias. Big fan. If you're not new to my channel, you'll know that I really like the like Cooldex plants, the real kind of weirdo, like just gnarly growing like trunks of weirdness. Like, I love those plants. And I could have put a few more in this video, but I didn't. I decided to pick this one. And again, like, I feel like my brain works in a really weird way. This is the Tyclodon singularis, and typically it puts out a single leaf that is usually round like this one. But I got two for some reason and this one came out a bit wonky. It is a Cooldex, which you can see there, and it has these like purple backs. It's a really hairy plant, which I'm hoping you can pick up and see. And actually, I often find fungus gnats dead on this plant, and it's not a carnivorous plant, but I feel like the leaves, they're like a little, they're almost like a waxy stickiness to them, and then the hairs on top of that, like, I feel like a fungus gnat will land on it and then like try and it just gets trapped, like, but they don't eat them like a carnivorous plant would, but they definitely catch them and kill them. And basically I wanted to include this plant. Like, I was looking at my plant collection thinking, what plants are spooky, what plants are giving off those like spooky season vibes, and I looked at this one and I was like, troll. So like, witch, troll, like. And I know there are definitely plants that look more trolly than this one. Like, you get those weird succulents that look like a troll's thumb. Like, I recently gave one back to Hayley, not back, I didn't get it from her, but I gave it to Hayley so that she could pass it on to someone that would really appreciate it, because it was just giving me the creeps. I didn't like it. But there's something about like the texture, like that kind of weird veining-y texture, and the colour. Again, it's kind of been blown out a little bit, but it's quite a bluey, grey kind of plant, and yeah, it made me think troll. So what that says about me, I don't know. But there you go. I really wanted to include it and share it with you guys. Next up, let's talk about this guy. This is my Cytosperma johnstonii. I really should have looked up some of these names before starting to film. This is a really cool plant. I mean, the colouring is quite spooky vibes. The kind of like that pink veining is really interesting. And the backs of the leaves are also quite insane. Like, look at that colouring. Like, that's really cool, isn't it? Look at that. But the petioles are so weird. Like, they've got similar markings on them to the Alocasia Sabrina. Like, they're kind of stripy. But can you see these, like, I don't know if you can see them, but there's like thorns almost all over the petioles, and they are actually quite sharp. Like, why isn't it showing them? You can kind of see it against my hair here. Like, they're actually quite sharp, and it's just, I don't know, it's like an unassuming petiole. Like, you're like, oh, it's got pink on the leaves, it's so pretty, and then there's this petiole that is actually really freaking sharp and does scratch you. Like, it's like a spooky plant in disguise. But I couldn't film this video today and not include this guy in it, because I feel like it is real Real weirdo, spooky vibes. And the backs of there's just so many different colours going on in this plant. I am really enjoying it. Definitely, you've got to keep this one wet, guys. Do not let it dry out. Like, you will get crispy tips immediately. It's like I'm pretty sure you can grow these like in water, like it wants to be wet. Don't let it dry out. But it's very, very cool. I'm very happy to have it in my collection. Okay, so the last plant I want to share with you, I'm really annoyed at myself because I can't remember its name. I bought it at the same time as I bought like another plant, and I get them muddled up. Like it, I think it begins with an S, but I can't remember what it's called. But I still need you to see it because it is weird. Like the whole, like there's a few different types of this plant, and they are all really like spiky and gnarly. Like this isn't a cactus, but it has spiky, thorny spininess. Like I don't know what the technical term is. Like look at this. Every part of this plant is spiky. Like the stems, the leaves have these orange spikes on them. Like can you see these orange spikes? Like look at that. Wild. The flowers, so this one grows little purple flowers, and if it gets like pollinated, the fruits, I'm pretty sure are even like spiky. They're in the tomato family, which is just interesting in itself. But yeah, like I kind of wish it was still in bloom. Like it's this bluey grey leaf with bright orange spikes and then purple flowers. Like so weird. So weird. Yeah, there are a couple of others that I'd really like. It needs water. Like I need to repot it out of this because it dries out really quickly. It's a very thirsty plant and the leaves go bright yellow, which is why I have this like stem here without any leaves on it. And I don't know if you can chop and prop these guys. The seller that I bought it from wasn't sure either. He'd never done it. So I'm a little bit scared to chop it, because I imagine it would grow new growth from like the chopped bit, but I don't know if I'd be able to root the top bit, if that makes sense. If any of you know, that would be amazing, but I couldn't not do like a spooky season video and not include this utter weirdo. Like it's lethal. It's also fuzzy. So like the leaves are fuzzy, but they've also got these really horrible orange spines on them. And when this one arrived to me, it actually had thrips, and the amount of times I'd like find a thrip and go to like squish it and end up stabbing myself on the opposite side because I didn't realise there was a spine there. That happened a lot. But yeah, it's lethal and I love it. Okay, those are my spooky season plants that I wanted to share with you this year. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Are these all spooky? Like, what was your favourite one? Do you have any of these, or do you want to add any of these to your collection now that you've seen them here in this video? I do really love like the weirdo spooky plants just all year round. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!